Well, my understanding as a media student of what a thriller and horror film is, firstly, the whole idea is that the audience want to be freaked out. They want their mind or physical being to be messed with somehow. They pay to see the film to expect to be scared in one way or another, if it's mentally or psychologically or physically. But the whole idea is to make the audience uncomfortable to start with. Common elements that are seen through horror films are things such as blood, water, weapons, bathrooms, people in the woods, people in big abandoned houses. We see a lot of abandoned warehouses and libraries and hospitals. We tend to see a lot of children and toys. A lot of items that should seem comforting, such as clowns and dolls, when in fact they become terrorizing items that kill you. Another understanding of a horror film is that I have is that normally all the characters are teenagers, normally from the age of probably about 18 to about 25, normally college students, all go camping for the weekend. The start of the film is very happy and lively, a lot of drinking and smoking and couples. But however, with horror films now, there tends to be a lot more spiritual horror films, such The Conjuring or Paranormal Activity. Nowadays, we tend to see films that are a lot more spiritual and less about murderers, as I feel that it's a bit done now, so people are tending to go off in different directions to be more interesting. Horror films tend to be a lot more scarier if the if the enemy and demon person is unseeable. Because a murderer, you can call the police and they'll go to prison, but a spirit you can't get rid of no matter what, if you believe they're there or not. So at the moment, I understand that films tend to be a lot more psychological to impress the audience nowadays. Is that the scenes normally take place during night or within a dark and secluded location, which brings a sense of isolation to the film, which also emphasizes to the audience how alone you are because you have no way of escaping and no way of becoming safe. If it's in a house, it will be in a house in the middle of the woods or high on a cliff or far away from civilization and definitely out of the city. Also, scenes tend to be a lot in the bathroom, where I think it's probably because of water and the fact we can't breathe under it, and it's a weird substance that can kill us. It takes 2 centimeters to kill us, so that's quite scary than horror films. They use a lot of surreal imagery, such as mirrors and using doors and shutting, opening them in front of the screen and having people jump out sometimes and jump out not, which causes the audience to constantly feel on edge as they're not quite sure if someone's going to jump out or not. And sometimes it's just as effective when something doesn't scare the audience than having a creature jump out at the screen to the audience. Also, another element within horror films that I understand is that there is a lot of music within the background. There is constantly an underlay of music, kind of telling the audience how they should feel, if they feel suspense or excitement, or if a jump is coming up as all the crescendo of the music all builds up and it all comes less eerie and comes more focused and everything until the jump. And even when there is a jump of someone coming out, there is a bang in the background just to emphasize it even more. Also, within the editing, there tends to be a lot of over the shoulder, a lot of close ups, and also a lot of establishing shots to show how alone they are. Especially when they're outside in an open area, it tends to be a lot of long shots just to prove how isolated they are. While when they're in a building or an closed, isolated area, it tends to be a lot of close up shots to show how terrified they are in the face and everything.